I've had it figured out a few times. Hello,
I
everybody.
bet.
I'm your brother Anuhazi. Welcome to Christos Avatar TV. And as you can see, tonight it's going to be a unique live. I'll be interviewing our star sister Rianna from Amore Earth. And right away, I'm just going to just ask her to say hello and introduce herself. Hello, welcome. It's a great honor to have you, dear. Thank you for being here today.
Uh, Thank you so much. It's so amazing to be here and to meet you, Avatar, and spend time. And I'd like to say thank you to our brother Indigo Wizard for
Yes.
orchestrating this beautiful connection. So yeah, just so grateful. And um, I'm just praying that we have a good connection. The internet connection is it's been playing up. So I apologize if I drop out or I you can't hear me very well, but we'll just do our best. But yeah, I'm Rianna, and I a group or a website called Amore Earth, and of course that echoes the Freedom Teachings Anuhazi language for eternal divine love. So that's the essence that we're pulling through in this Krystic advent on this ascension journey. So yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring the landscape, Anhazi, like just seeing where this goes.
Yeah, so Amore Earth, can you please explain what that means to you or where you get that term? Because a lot of people may be unfamiliar with that.
Mhm, sure. Amorea um, is an Anuhazi word, but as you'll see in the name, the sound, um, it's replicated through different languages like French, Italian, and the Tahitian island of Amorea. And the essence of it is eternal divine love, which is the binding force of all creation, in my definition, and is at the core and the essence of everything that we are, and we're seeking to remember and reclaim, and use that to remember aspects of the forgotten self as a wholeness journey. So when I came across the freedom teachings and I saw this word, it echoed a huge remembrance within me. There was a being in New Zealand, Amorea sounds like the Maori language. It's Lamurian, ancient Mua, from the original languages spoken on Earth. So yeah, there was just a beautiful resonance, and of course, the essence speaks to everything that I resonate with. Bringing heaven to earth, bringing that love back into the conversation on Earth. Mm.
So I wanted to ask, are you visiting New Zealand or do you actually live there or have family there or something?
Yeah, sure. No, I grew up here. I'm a Kiwi, New Zealander. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And this has been my home since I was born. But I've done a lot of travel, like all grid workers. We're skirting off to all kinds of places in the world, aren't we? Interfacing with the grid and anchoring codes, and as part of the remembering process and repatterning the crystal architecture underpinning the new infrastructure that we're moving into. So um, yeah, New Zealand's my home, and I have some land here, which I live on, and this is where I've been gifted the task of remembering stewardship and guardianship in regards to the land and how to work properly with her, and remembering our connection to all that is, especially nature. So it's my sanctuary, and this is the place that I amplify what I feel I'm here to do, which is love.
Yeah.
Putting love back into earth, yeah, into life.
Well,
Mm.
Earth definitely could use some more love. Humanity could use that love. And these teachings, the Emerald Order teachings, also called the innerchristos law of one, brings us what we call omni love. That includes unity in Christ consciousness and unconditional love. God loves everything, and Creator Source God is feeding us this love, whether we're receptive to it or not. And so
Mm.
I want to ask you, dear, do you find in New Zealand some special type of geographical energies I mean, I know there's not a Stargate there, but there must be some type of natural raw energy you're connecting there, right?
Yeah, of course. There's many vortex points
Oh,
throughout the country. High energy. There are, I think there's a big point that runs through Christchurch, through Castle Rock, but generally the mountains and these places of special beauty, they hold a lot of beauty. That for me is holding a special code and a remembrance of the ancient lands of Moo, that memory, lakes. Yeah, they hold that memory, and when you tune into it, that's the point. It's like every place on earth is sacred. It's a sacred
yeah.
site, and it's not until you remember that and you start to interface the interconnectedness of all things, and you start to speak a different language that is very ancient, and you're just remembering your original coding. This is the way we move, and this is what we're remembering how to do. But yeah, there's certainly places here of high energy, yeah, that you can tap into.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like it'd be a like it's a bounty of beautiful nature. Just like I'm a desert guy, and like I lived in
Mhm.
Arizona, I lived in Nevada. So you talk about Lamria and Moo. I want to say that the teachings also mention a connection in Hawaii. So I ended up finding myself in Hawaii. So, my
Mhm.
journey took me there. Wow, OMG, that was like another planet. And then when I look at New Zealand, it looks like another planet, like a Pandora in the movie Avatar, or even in Return of the
Mhm.
Jedi, they had that cool planet, like a lush. And I see
Yes.
New Zealand kind of being lush energy, frequency, and bountiful. So, but do you have some Lemurian memories by chance?
um yeah, what I associated with ancient Moo, it's like the time before Lemuria, I think, and it
Yeah.
was the original the it was very tropical. It was like the environment was more medium based on tropical landscapes, and it was very lush, jungly types, huge trees, um, beautiful landscapes, just everything you could dream a tropical lush
Yeah.
paradise to be. And that's what I was looking for at one stage in my life, and I was like really confused why I couldn't find it when I was traveling to Hawaii and Cook Islands and Tahiti, and I was like, I'm sure it was here. And I was like, oh, I'm remembering Moo, like I'm remembering something, and that's yeah, it was through those memories that I connected with Moo family,
Mhm.
to reconnect with those codes. So yeah, it plays in the back of our memories for sure,
What,
recalling it.
yeah, what's
Mm.
interesting is that we start to realize that, well, in these teachings, they talk about simultaneous incarnation. They're not really a past life or future life. They're actually another version of yourself, another identity in Lemuria, in Atlantis,
Mm.
right? So as psychic beings, we start to awaken to those parts of ourselves. Oh, you start receiving, it's all about energy, frequency, and we're multidimensional. So you can connect to your Lemurian self, whether that was a priestess or whatever, right?
Mm. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and that's the way. Yeah, when I got into the freedom teachings and opened up to that realm of um, the spiritual anatomy and how it was playing in terms of what we were pulling through to assist us on this soul journey of remembering, that made sense to me. So memories of Avalon and the Magi Grail Druidic
Oh,
lines and the Celtics of northern Atlantis, I have memories of them. And then suddenly I was able to put more of the dots together and understand a bit more of the sequence, or perhaps what was playing out at the time, um, and how those kind of activated the more magical aspects of self as well.
mhm.
So you're calling in those ancient memories, and it's to do that. It's to activate the DNA and expand into that multidimensional awareness, just in a more deeper, more clarified sense. So it's, yeah, that's just the process of becoming, isn't it? Remembering. Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you're where your thought goes, energy flows. So when you start thinking about Lemuria, that's going to create some natural effect of bringing it into your hologram experience here. Like, oh yeah, maybe it
Mm.
was in Lemuria. And I just want to say, quite frankly, if you're a human being, you're all from Lemuria. You know, the Lemurians created DNA strand 2. So the fact that you're here in the third dimension means you had to create strand 2 to get here. So we were all Lemurians. We were all Atlanteans. That's our rich heritage. That's where we're, our roots, and the root races, the starseed races.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
and
that's so
and
beautiful.
and I wanted to ask you, dear, this, memories. How did what brought you into the Ashayana Deane teachings? Like, when time of your life did you, or how did you find these teachings?
Yeah, that's such a great question, isn't it? Because I love knowing how people found them too. And
Yeah.
many years ago, I came across her book, Voyages,
Mm.
and I started to read it. And then I caught just a small segment of one of her workshops. And I remember watching it thinking, I have no idea what this woman's talking about, but I know it's really important. and, uh, and so I knew I had an awareness that there was a journey of expansion that had to happen first before I could understand what she was talking about. And sure enough, when I last year, almost a year ago, I came across the workshops again. They just appeared out. Well, I'd asked the question first. I was like, okay, so I've had all these experiences. Now what? Now what do I do? I was asking my higher self. Do I share this? How do I share this? How do I put this into a way that I can help others, or those kinds of questions? And that's when I came across the workshops, and when I started to watch, I was like, oh my goodness, here's this beautiful woman who's explaining so many of my experiences that I'd had since I came across her book, and direct cognitive interaction with fire letter codes, with my Lyran aspect. And then here she was explaining what those were. So I was able to
Mhm.
put more understanding, but to have all the detail and all the structure behind it and what it was doing was phenomenal to me. And I was like, this is really great information. So I used it as a tool to further explain the experiences that I'd had. And I got really excited about that, and felt the need to share the information for people like me who had perhaps experienced the same thing, and in an undoctored way. So I wanted to provide access to the material so everybody could discern what they needed through the material through for self-development process. So that's kind of what took me on that adventure, and I set up a YouTube channel and shared the workshops, and then had everything pulled offline just recently. So that was my lovely little span time with them. And now I'm developing a Telegram channel to kind of continue the conversation, if you like,
Yeah.
and further develop in that area, alongside um, a message about using it as a tool to divine your own essence and your own co-creative abilities as a creative being, and to focus on your own soul things as tools and functions to bring that to life. Just like you do with your lovely videos about the star races and the beings, that's incredible. It's great. Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, the more of us that are kind of pulling in,
Mhm.
using our own creativity to bring our essence through is what we're here to do. I feel it's all about that as part of the remembering.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think it's part of our mission as guardians. We are part of this group. We're part of this effort of the Emerald Order teachings to bring it forward, like you said, in our unique way. And I always want to say, when I found the teachings, I had the same reaction. It just blew my mind. It was so complex, but even if I didn't understand it right, I was still strongly drawn to it. Like, I told myself,
Mm.
I will understand this. But it was like when I saw, like you said, this beautiful woman just start explaining super advanced mechanics, and she's in this large. I was at the Phoenix convention, which was Sliders 8. So it was way over my head, but I was still there. Spirit brought me there. And so I saw speaker one, speaker two, speaker three in person. We even had some field trip to the biosphere in Tucson, Arizona. That was amazing to
Mhm.
do that with the small group. But yeah, I couldn't even articulate it to someone else. I had to take years to absorb some of that stuff. But I think we're all on our own awakening journey.
Mhm.
I think we activate, and those that came into my life just like it came into your life. And so here we
Mhm.
are, so, finding ourselves talking about it and sharing it. And it's a beautiful experience. And I'm so glad we can find people, we, like Team Indigo, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's such an awesome story. In person with the speakers is
Right.
quite the shield split and all the drama surrounding everything that
Yeah.
the fallout and the changes that occurred to it. So yeah, because I hadn't realized all of that backstory when I came across
Mhm.
the teachings, and I was kind of perplexed as
Yeah.
to what's happening now. But my higher guidance just focused on the early teachings because that
Right.
in there was that's where I was finding a lot of the answers that
Right.
to decode my own journey, if you like. Um,
Yeah, it's important to
yeah,
talk
just
about
just a
that.
fascinating expansion journey.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, it's a spiritual science. So it's not like something you just do like this, like most people expect or want. You have to actually commit yourself and study, learn, listen, practice, train, work on your Templar, work on your Mahar seal. Like she was saying, work on the fire letters, learn what those are. This is our technology, you guys. All of our technology. This is why it's being brought to the planet again, because of the spiritual, drama playing out. And we'll talk more about that tonight as well. But I had a question for you, Rana. From your perspective, what are timeline shifts, and how do they affect our daily lives?
mm. It's a good question. Line shifts. Well, um,
Because you
my
talked
feeling
about,
is their frequency shift. Mm.
like you
Yeah, no,
talked
carry
about
on. I can't
timelines,
remember what
right?
I talked about. What did I
Uh,
talk about?
well, I thought you made videos
Yeah, I
about
guess so.
timeline
Yeah, how they.
and shifts, and
Yes, yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like what's
Nick and I
happening with
spoke
humans,
about
right?
it briefly.
Okay.
Level ups in frequency as we jump through and we shift tracks based on our choice points and decisions in every now moment and what we're aligning with. Um, and they kind of weave in and out, but it seems to be one trunk line that's kind of like magnetic. Um, yeah, it's kind of coming down to a convergence point as we pull ourselves more into our wholeness and our full expression. It becomes a lot more clarified along with the timelines, our choice points, our thoughts, the way we live our lives. It becomes a lot more seamless, if you like. Yeah. That's my basic understanding. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well.
Well, I believe there certainly must be different timelines that humans will be going to, depending on your frequency and your vibration. Maybe you're going to hopefully the one that's awakening timeline, because not everyone chooses that path. So, but like I loved how you described it as magnetic and pulling towards what you're experiencing in your thoughts and what your beliefs and what you're geared towards. I mean, versus someone who doesn't respect life, who doesn't even think about spirit or God or anything, they're not going into this timeline. They're going into a, you know, when it comes to going into another timeline, first there's the death process. then your spirit goes on to the next level. So there, since we're not mortal anymore, we have to die first. But yeah, I agree because I think we make our timeline. I mean, we are connecting ourselves by our thoughts to what timeline we're going to end up going. Does that make sense? You know,
Mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like the highest ability, the highest
potential, like
from
there's
every now
five.
moment. Yeah, the highest potential. Like the
Mm.
yeah. What did Ashayana call it? She called it like was it the hero used in the manifestation workshops? Sorry, I've just drawn a complete blank.
No, you.
But that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, I
Sorry, am I cutting out?
a little bit. That's fine. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but there's also surely kind of like a negative drama playing out, right? So there would probably be a different timeline for other people, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's
It's
what we're
not like,
observing, isn't it? And that's kind of yeah, wherever you're polarized to go, you're fear-based or
yeah,
you're unity, love, freedom-based, and
right.
yeah, with yeah, yeah.
I
Um,
mean, you
just
can
as you were describing. Mm.
you can definitely see those kind of people in the world. I mean, we still have people who judge, people who hate, and they're not aligning themselves to respect, reverent respecting all life. It's a choice. It's a free will choice, and actually, Creator Source God gave all, gave itself, gave everyone the divine gift of free will. Some people will use that to expand and return back to source. Some people will use that to vampire life, and so
Mm.
I noticed you talk about some of the different consciousness on your channel, like false light or parasitic consciousness. I think you called it parasitic consciousness.
Yeah, yeah. The false overlays that have been imposed on humanity and Earth, keeping it within a certain frequency, and for me that impedes well. So um, I feel like what's happening is um, creator and the creator beings, the founder races, are bringing in these frequencies to help shift everybody to actually get to a point where they can reach a state of consciousness, that an awakened spark. Like we watch people who are still going about their daily lives as per the old paradigm, but feel as things shift, we may see more and more just start to spark and make that choice to shift and keep going. So yeah, I believe in infinite possibilities with the scenarios. Like I'm reluctant to write anything off because I feel like there is a great massive plan playing out here, and it's divine and it's perfect. But yeah, certainly the overlays and the false constructs are being dismantled, especially as we do the work within ourselves, as we observe the ways in which we're hooked or plugged into the old false overlays, the paradigms that have sought to feed off so many different aspects of us. And as we reclaim that back, we're the dismantling process. So yeah, as we're just observing the laws of the universe and doing so, yeah.
Do you think
I forget where we started because there was a I'm
was that?
trying to
Um,
remember where I'd started because um, I wanted to bring it back to that point, but I'm just trying to complete blank. Sorry.
oh, it's okay. So do how would that do you think would play out in the world stage? Like we see lots of talk about World War III. We see, people having problems in these countries and there's starvation, there's killing, how would you see this playing out? in the world, what would it look like if you think
Wow.
everything's going to
Yeah.
change?
Yeah. To know, I just see it like there's different catalytic points for individuals, for individual souls that they know between them and Creator, and that's where that unique path is so essential to honor within everybody, because you don't know what their soul path is, and I can only hold space and unconditional love and compassion for all in this process. But from what I observe and what I've observed as catalysts and choices to expand into a new awareness, and the indigos were put here to do that specifically, to remember that we're always and learning. We had that ability to see switched on from birth. So yeah, I can only feel that everybody's going to be offered whatever catalyst is perfect for them to choose. So yeah, what are your feelings on it? Like,
Well, I know there's lots of hybrids that have a different agenda on Earth. They're part human, but they're also part Anunnaki. I mean, the teachings talk about these hybrids. Some that are part human, part reptilian. That happened in Atlantis, and some of those bloodlines are still here. I know there's a lot of blood types still on Earth. If the scientists say we all came from one source, like a monkey or something, why is there a bunch of different blood types? There's many different blood types. That doesn't work. So if we have humans and we have hybrid Anunnaki and hybrid reptilians, there's different agendas, different ideas playing out. So I don't see how there's going to be a unified ascension, because it's literally about, you would say, DNA strands. How could someone with three strands, be given grace to go into the fourth dimension? You can't physically go into the fourth dimension. You can't ascend there. You can't ascend to the fifth dimension without five strands. I'm just wondering how that works. It seems very complicated, right? I mean, there's so much different
very
levels of
complicated. Yeah,
consciousness.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, this is why it's a hard question to answer, because my little human brain can't do it. It's like, well, I can only assume that the creator knows exactly what he's doing, what it's doing is the perfect place for all beings in terms of their evolutionary potential. Christos' mission of reclamation, it was providing the path to evolution, maturing of species, and all the hybridization complexities that have taken place down here also have the ability to choose the path of evolution and ascension,
Mhm.
expansion, but and that what is perfect for them. So I couldn't talk to that with much confidence. I just trust that, and the teachings briefly talk about it too, about how they are offered a line of evolution, and I feel like that's coming through our DNA strands as well. So some of us contain these, and we're becoming aware of what our DNA contains. These different strains of being able to templates within us
Mhm.
is offering that path of evolution. So it's happening within us, and as we choose that, and we become more aware of what we are made of, as individual beings, as part of it. And that's how I've understood it, was recoding the blueprint with whatever I'm been coded with, which is a unique signature, and to offer that as the path of evolution and Krystic rehabilitation into the higher realms. Does that make sense? That's my very basic understanding of
Yeah,
that, because it is extremely complex. I couldn't I hope to get
Yeah,
my head around it.
I know some
Mm.
of us are definitely awakening to those, that the Christic point of view and finding that those Christos Avatar version of ourselves. I mean, it's not just some lofty concept, it's a real thing. And some of us confirm it within our own inner Christos journey. And so we actually don't need someone else to believe it because there's lots of doubters or
Mm.
haters out there. But and you just transmute that kind of um, negative, attacks. But it's kind of like
Yeah.
we deal with that as Christic beings. We're gonna deal with negative energies. We have to learn how to kind of like spiritual kung fu, know how to transmute it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, we're transcending so much. Yeah, so much of what you're talking about is the judgment that's placed on
Yeah.
us as individuals. You can't point fingers on the Christic journey. You just like first you're so focused on what you're doing and being in your lane and what you're offering to the collective. You don't have the time to judge others or to um, the only thing you can really do is offer compassion and understanding
Yeah.
that everybody's on their unique path and only they know and you don't it's like it's okay, that's where I feel like we're coming back to a perfect design because we're here doing that, we're living it. A lot of people I've noticed get hung up on making the wrong choice or the bad choice. Oh, I was involved with that group and I lost my way. But no,
Mhm.
I see it that way. I see it as it was perfect because you were learning through it, you're evolving through it. And not only that, you were kind of, while you were in there, you were actually infiltrating and dismantling the illusion within it as well. So I can see it like that. I can see like crystal lights all through the fabric of the false overlays, just breaking it apart with beautiful light and sound. And that's for me the collective. That's what it looks like, and we're just kind of rising in that way. Mm.
Do you see that
I
happening?
don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. Does it? Do you see that happening in our lifetime, or is it somewhere in the
Oh
future?
yeah. Um, I hoped, and then a couple of years ago, I had to have a sit down with myself and say, "Look, this may not happen in your lifetime," and I was crushed. But the legacy of love within me. So whatever we're setting into motion now is the legacy, and whatever we're passing on to our children and teaching them
Mhm.
about who they are. It's just that next generation, like with my daughter, for example, we're having conversations about highly spiritual topics
Yeah.
and gifts and
How,
abilities
how old is she?
and what the indigos. She's 8. She's
Okay.
8. So she she came on her first grid working mission with me when she was
Wow.
6, so and was introduced to it, but it's already within them.
Yeah.
The purity and the innocence of the energy is already there, and it's about teaching them to protect it or cultivate it or trust that
Hmm.
that's their real true self, and being a guardian of that as well. So it's a guardian on all levels, what we're here to do and preserve and remember. And it is the innocence, the purity of spirit, that angelic nature.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
the the negative aspects of our world target these children, and they try to disempower these children before they even get a chance. Ashayana made a video workshop on it. It's called the Architects of Light. And, a lot of these kids are sent to shrinks. A lot of them are put on Ritalin or some type of suppressants. That's an attack. It's holding down uh, these guardians from coming and fulfilling their journey, their purpose here, and so it's really sad that that happens. And
Mm.
your daughter, for example, has a wonderful example in her life. Some kids, their parents are like 3D consciousness, and they don't even know how to deal with it. Like especially the indigo type threes, they're host matrix indigo type threes. Like my daughter, I believe, is an indigo type three because I see her life had that battleground. And so, I mean, what
Mm,
these kids are doing though are so brilliant that they have so much. If we just could set them free, they would accomplish super amazing things. It's just that this
mm.
world seems to try to keep them down a bit.
Yeah, in a way, but that's also like provides the resistance and the catalyst needed for them to find their response to it. And it's like a remembering through it as well. It's it's like a building of a muscle or a strength, um, in order to push through it. And that's when the individual soul journey and path is really interesting to me because they are coded to do that in a way. But yes,
Mhm. Uh,
yes, well, yeah, like you were saying, my daughter's between two worlds. So she has me on one spectrum and then the partner on the other spectrum. So she's in the middle and she's branching the two worlds. And it's really fascinating to watch her balance
yeah.
and navigate that. And she's learning, she's able to see who she is and where she's more oriented towards, which is such a fascinating process. So, um, and how to use her gifts and abilities to promote self-healing in these situations as
Mhm.
well. So I feel like we're going to be moving into ways to assist one another in all
Mhm.
age levels and how to bring that
Yeah.
knowledge in and yeah, help one another. Just feel like we're at the beginning stages of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is what this is what you call the Guardian Alliance coming here. This is the Interdimensional Association of Free Worlds coming here. This is the Ayani, the Giannis Ascended Masters coming here. That's who the Indigos are. And we're
Yeah,
meant to be like way showers or trailblazers. And there's a lot of them are very gifted, but even Indigos have to wake up. There's such
mm,
a like I've heard even Ashayana say that we even still have to they have the fifth and the sixth activated in the wound, but they still have to activate the fourth heart chakra. So it's not like it's there's no challenge for indigos. We still have work to do, but but we're meant to
yeah,
awaken and help awaken others.
mm,
So
yeah. That's exactly right. And I feel like that's why so many of us gravitate towards teaching or sharing information about getting into the heart and using heart-centered awareness and pulling that through to balance, to find that balance, um, and to heal through that. Yeah, it's everything. It's everything. Because so much of the overlay, the illusion is the mental realm, and this is where they love to play and distract and just overwhelm the minds of all. So this is why it's essential to get out of the mind or bring it into the heart and start operating through here and finding that peace and stillness to create from. That's everything. And so much of that can be done, I mean, just in our own experience with nature, right? When we go into nature, that's
Mhm.
our sanctuary, that's our temple. And this is where we can connect with all that is and remember our true nature, which is peace. And
Yeah.
yeah, just yeah, recenter from that place. And this is why we gravitate countries that are away from crowds, not in city centers anymore, and
Yeah.
and traveling to beautiful places that remind us of memories as we reclaim them. And that's the path. That's the path that we're here to walk. Yeah.
Well, I think,
Mm.
we come from these higher, I mean, we live in those levels up there and come here and maybe we can't deal with that energy, so we do need to be a little bit farther out. Like I live in a small town. I don't live in big city right now. And I encourage always for people to go out into nature, get out of the energetic grid, and it's replenishing. And like she said, this is something that is a natural state. We need to go back to the natural state and then recover, heal, get our thoughts together, return back to our
Mm,
workplace. And um, and so it's kind of like medicine. It's a part of our healing, I believe, right?
absolutely, 100%. Yeah. I certainly can't live in a city area anymore. The noise and my sensitivity is just so
Yeah, yeah. So
off
you
the
said
chain,
it.
like off the
Sensitivity,
yeah.
sensitivity.
hmm hmm Yeah, and it's essential to honor that as well. Like
Yeah.
um, sensitivity is the true superpower. You know, it's when you can tune in to nature and animals, and you can hear trees and spirit working through everything, and the way our hologram moves and shifts, and our reality speaks to us through everything. That's the
Mhm.
shamanic aspect of self that is
Mhm.
looking to be expressed in this world and remembered, because that is the guardian. That is the true Krystic guardian.
Mhm.
And we speak to everything. We're not drowned out by the energetic noise and static that's produced in a city environment.
I
Yeah.
recognize the shaman part of you. I mean, I see it in your energy. In some of your pictures, it seems like
Right.
you have a memory. Maybe if it's Celtic or Druidic, these are some of the indigo lines. But do you have some? Uh, is that part of your, things that you express through shamanism or something like it?
Yes. Yeah, definitely in a
Yeah.
big way. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm connected to Earth, and I walk on her, and I move with her, and I sing with her, and this is my life. This is how I move now. Um, yeah, like all of us, I feel like we're just remembering that, and the connection to the original indigenous tribes as well, and the way they've retained
Yeah.
the essence of that within them, although they've been absolutely decimated. But we're here to remember that for them, and be the voice for the
Mhm.
voiceless again, and through our own memory, and making that accessible again. And certainly that's been the path that I've been walking on my grid working as well. So through Australia, the
Mhm.
Indigenous original tribes, and through the States as well. I came through the Hopi, the Navajo, and just drawn
Oh yeah.
it's like the memories of the time I walked with them, and the prophecies as well. It's like we wrote these, it's like these
Right.
interesting connections, but they speak directly to my heart. Yeah, yeah.
I
No doubt
also
yourself. Yeah. So I see it in you as well.
Yeah, I have a strong connection to Native Americans. Like I highly respect it because I've had way too many, experiences, visions, of Native Americans. I've heard them speak. I speak the light language of some of these parts of myself. It's undeniable. I'm not sitting here trying to prove to someone. I'm just explaining what, like you have explained, just what has been part of our hologram experience. Like you said, we wrote some of those prophecies. We're from those levels. We're just bringing it and holding that code. Like you said, when we come here, it's in the fields now for others to experience and to connect to.
Mm-hmm.
If there was no indigo children here, nobody would have that leap. There wouldn't be a leap available. So it's part of Ascension to come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautifully said. Exactly. Yeah. When you're walking on Earth, and you're moving with the grid, sharing codes and interfacing with it, you are not only accessing those that came before you, but opening access for others who are going to come as well. And yeah, through all these beautiful areas. But it's also, um, the freedom teachings talk a lot about Atlantis and Lemuria, and specific focus, but there's so much more that's now opening up in terms of remembrance too, as part of the different civilizations and realms that we've also lived, and that's going to be remembered through each of us as well. So
Hmm.
this is why it's such a wonderful toolkit as a baseline to move with and to remember, because in the last couple of years I've been really tuning into the elven kingdoms, the elven, the fae, the elementals, and the master builders, and in specific places like the areas like Arizona, the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, where I was a couple of years ago, and the Sahara. I haven't been to the Sahara, but these places of deserts, and what we're going to be doing is uncovering the mystery as we remember,
Mhm.
demystifying and remembering more. There's so much more going on, which is really exciting. So yeah, this is why I feel called to work with the flame body techniques to help activate that within each and every one of us that feels called to work with these consciousness tools in order to access that curiosity about the paths that we've walked and how that's interweaving into the storyline that we're now co-creating together, and what we're pulling through to build the
Are
new.
you are you
Yeah.
teaching that on your website or on your YouTube? Are you teaching people how to do that?
Yeah, so I've got Michael Deane's original audio files that where he takes you through the flame body activation. So that's all sitting on the website. But I've just run people through a 4-week
Mhm.
workshop where they can just jump on, and I'm facilitating or reading from the Dance for Life manual, which has got all the techniques in it,
Yeah.
which was thoroughly enjoyable. And it's such a fun light and sound technique to work with. Yeah, I just love everything about it. It's called the Amoraea flame body, and I just think what's better than working with the eternal divine love within each of us, sitting in, that's everything. That's the God spark. That's the seed to activate it all, and kind of bring in that wholeness and whole aspect of self into realization, actualization.
Well, yeah,
So yeah, I've enjoyed that.
that's
Yeah.
that's the amazing thing about these techniques is they bring they teach you to aim for the highest levels, like the 12D crystal shield, for example, because that contains all the lower levels of yourself within it. And so if they're like you're saying, all those techniques from which I encourage people to watch, by the way, it's called Dance for Love, Dance for Joy. I mean, what a brilliant name, right? What a,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
uh, like uh like some people, it seems like most of my videos, the negative ones are more popular than the ones talking about love. What's up with that, right? I
Right.
want to talk
Yeah.
about love and joy, eternal bliss, and people want to hear
That's
about
it.
death and war and fallen angels.
I know, right? That's my problem. I don't talk about enough death.
Have,
I'm like, no, let's talk about life.
weekend special of death, whatever. But yeah, I think that's,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Mm.
is that a
I'm sure
curriculum?
it'll become more popular as people realize that
Yeah.
joy is
Powerful.
a thing that can be enjoyed in this lifetime.
Yeah. I think we can create that space for ourselves to experience it. Um, like you said, we'll more
Mm.
away from the big cities, more in nature, and then your mind is just free to reclaim.
Mm. Mm.
Nothing's holding you back. So, um,
That's it. Yeah. And it's a slow process of unbecoming everything you're not, isn't it? And it's to be patient with yourself, like, and draw on that gentle compassion for yourself and to honor that. It's so easy to get caught up in the noise and the drama and everybody else's perspectives and opinions on things, but you must always bring it back to your center and get curious about what you are. I couldn't encourage people to get really curious about who they are enough. Like, you're a
yeah,
creative being, this is amazing. There's the whole program is designed to help you forget that. And we're not going to. We're going to remember, and
mhm.
we are in the process of doing that quite spectacularly, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of like reconfirming because so many people like part of that workshop, by the way, they talk about the 12 attitudes of mastery, the 12 attitudes of
Mm.
like self-love. How many people don't love themselves, because they've been programmed their whole life that something's bad about them or wrong about them. But that all needs to be healed. That all needs to be released and let go. And remember that all beings are
Mm,
connected to Source God. We all have a vertical connection. You're not born with sin. You're not being judged by Creator. Creator loves you. Creator, that's God's original intention, is to send that omni love and for you to experience it. Don't you agree,
mm.
Rianna?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, keyword self-love. Exactly. That's what it's all about. The the attitudes and responsibilities mastery stuff holds so much wisdom and is the place where people just skip over a lot, I've noticed.
Yeah.
But that's where the self-responsibility takes place, and that's
Yeah.
essential because once you master your life force energy, this is when you can start to elevate and ascend into new realms of possibility and responsibility. Now that you're taking you recognize the need for that love and self-care and nurturance within yourself, you can now interact and interface with a new frequency bandwidth, and that's when magic starts to happen. Well, I call magic, but it's just you being you just your true self. But it's seeing that reflected in your relationships and the opportunity, like talk here, sitting here with you is amazing. That's magical to me. Like, what a cool thing that is. um as a result of the choices and the practices that we cultivate within us, and everything comes back to love. I'm going to talk about love for the rest of my life because
Yeah.
it's just underpins everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
I think that's a good place to start with. That's a good foundation to talk about, to have that
Right.
frequency in your name, which is like you said at the beginning, it's a Anuhazi word. And those are the guardians understand sound as with power. So every word has powerful meaning. And of course, we're aligning our meanings with positive, loving things, not twisted, dark, profane things. So it's
Mm.
all becoming sacred and embracing
Yeah.
that reclaiming our full potential as guardian beings. And I mean, because there's so many narratives that are putting down the human race. You guys, we were created as an angelic race. We're literally the angelic human race. We got a bump on our head. We don't, people don't remember that, but that is our true heritage. And so,
Mm.
don't you agree that's important that people understand that
Oh,
we have this amazing
yeah.
heredity?
Yes, this incredible soul lineage that is within all of us. Yeah, exactly. That was part of the mind-blowing aspect of the freedom teachings when we came across that, right? Was learning about the genetic lineage, the fact that we weren't an accident. I never believed Darwin's theories, but it was like I didn't have anything else to go by either. And then when I saw that, I was like, of course, it makes so much sense. Divine design. It's at the core of everything. Of course it is. We are divinely designed. We are angelic. And like you say, with our names and the sounds that we use within our worlds and our lives, they create a living prophecy that lives through us. Like Avatar, and that's a living prophecy. You aspire, you draw that essence into you every time you see the sounds, and that's what we are. We're living light and sound. And when we invoke that, we're just breathing it in and reaffirming everything that we are. It's perfect. It's exactly how it needs to be. And this is why things are shifting so radically now in our lives.
And
Um, because,
don't,
yeah, certainly Amoraea. Yeah, I love that people can read it, they can see it because it's eternal divine love and it's reflecting back.
yeah.
I want it to be. I want it to be a mirror of what they are, whoever comes into my world.
And speaking of sound and frequency, these teachings have a lot of songs. Could you speak about how powerful and how beneficial singing these songs in Anahazi languages, by the way, Lyran language, how that can really help our journey?
Yeah, it's so language is coded to our DNA template. So every time you sing the sound tones, you are activating and healing and repairing your DNA, and tuning straight into the higher aspects of self. But also, as a starting point, they're fantastic to learn to reuse your voice. So many of us lost our voices during this lifetime. We cut ourselves off, and so these have been a wonderful tool to help me afraid to chant sound tones. And it's a process. I'm not perfect workshops. I was doing the with the Akasha, and in front of people, it's like, this is great because it's testing on all levels, and it's just, once again, it was just activating and healing, repairing, and you can see it working real time. It uplifts you immediately. That's the point. So it's a feeling, and that's the purpose of being in our heart, is remembering to feel the joy, feel the passion, feel the fire that burns within us again, feel that life force energy moving through us. It's nothing can take that away when you remember that. And these songs play a beautiful role in remembering that. And a lot of people say that, don't they? They say this sounds familiar, like it sounds familiar, like it's your DNA remembers. You are remembering. And I feel we're just going to expand on that more, with the individual soul songs that come through. You spoke about light language before, and I've heard my daughter singing. She picked it and then just started to create her own sounds with it, and that's the evolution happening through each of us. Sounds. It's an involvement of what was taken.
I just want to say that's not channeling, by the way. That's coming from within your own template. So the guardians don't, agree with channeling, because that's going to some other family of consciousness. We're talking about connecting to our own multidimensional family. And so, like she mentioned, her daughter is gonna, these young indigos here on the planet are connecting to that collective. And so it's beautiful, right? I mean, it's a beautiful thing. We all naturally, why am I speaking a different language? What is this, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The memory of tones. Yeah.
Is there a favorite
and I
song
feel
that you
like
have?
I do like the Song of Lyra.
Yeah. Song of Lyra.
But also the passage, the safe passage to heaven. There's something very quite remarkable about that sound, the words.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite?
I like the Song of Lyra too, um, and I always try to do these things daily. Yeah, I recommend that you guys try to memorize one, and just wherever you are, just I mean, I think it's not just working on your energies, it's also connecting you to a strong protection, I believe. I mean, I believe it's like you always have some part of you that's watching over you, but I think once you get more into these part of yourself, you have a whole team backing you up, I think.
Yeah, you do. Well, you're tapping into the around velocity. Like it's that you're now drawing through, and there's only you and source. There's no outside influence. This is where the healing takes place. It's like it's the override codes. The more that we're in that place, and this is why nature's so good, and the stillness, the seeking that connection with nature, process of connection with oneness is essential to observe and cultivate.
I wanted to ask you, like you have this on your website, like soul mastery, soul shaman, soul journey, soul temple. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, what does that mean to you? Soul as in the planet?
Sure. Yeah. Soul as in your higher self, your higher aspects.
Okay.
I know the freedom teachings describe it differently, but that was just my journey, and I like the sound of it. So it was a soul journey. So the soul shaman was about, the shamanic aspect of healing oneself and using tools to do that, to soul aligned life. And that to me is just your core blueprint, your divine regenerating and rejuvenating that. So yeah, there's a lot about me that just wants to simplify everything and make it
Yeah,
accessible for all. So this is my my inroads into that, and I like the sound of it.
I do
And
too.
the soul temple is obviously about the mind, body, spirit, heart, wholeness, the whole beingness, the whole ecosystem that is you, and how when we take care of all of it,
Hmm.
it responds in the same manner, takes care of you. So yeah, it's just recognizing that um, we're so multifaceted, but when you make your choices cohesive in alignment with your soul and source creator, it becomes simpler. It's
Yeah.
um, yeah, every step becomes simpler. Yeah, over time, it does take time. None of us are perfect. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well,
I struggle with things all the time. It's just, yeah.
the planet
But
has,
like we say, yeah.
I mean, the planet has distortions in it. Two-thirds of her have been reversed. So even when a guardian comes in, we're going to experience some of that in our field. So you're right, we're not perfect, but we're trying to reclaim our divine blueprint, which I notice
Mm,
you talk about, by the way, in the guardian teachings talk about all beings have a divine blueprint. An insect, an animal, a human, we all have a 12th dimensional, non-distorted, template of who we are. And so isn't that part of our journey, Rihanna? We're trying to reclaim that divine blueprint, our diamond sun DNA. The scientists
mm,
say we only have two strands. Two strands. We have 12 strands. And so that's what we're
mm,
trying to reclaim, that divine blueprint. Can you speak on
yeah,
that?
that's exactly it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like you teach as well. Yeah, we're in the process of activating those strands through our soul journey, through our choices and decisions, and how we take care of ourselves, and do these practices and consciousness tools, and developing our own methods to um, reclaim our memory. So for me, it's memory associated with DNA activation as well. It goes hand in hand, and that's where the fire letters come into the picture, don't they? Because it's about bringing those out of reverse sequence and putting them right in the right way, and kind of streamlining and getting the sound within us more pristine and more clarified. And that's what it is. It's just when you bring everything back to sound and light, and just bringing in the pure tones of who we truly are, it's all connected that way. It's all um, and that's what it means by uplifting your frequency. That's what you're doing. You're clarifying your sound, your harmonic, the way you vibrate, the way you live your life, the way you make your choices, um, the way you treat others, the way you treat nature, animals. It's all in the same way. It's a vibration. It's a frequency bandwidth, and the more that you rise, the more connected you are, and the
Mm,
less able you are to see through the eyes of illusion and distortion. You see the beauty, you see grace. So you are grace, you are beauty, you are love, you are connected, you are peace. You become it. And that's the point. You're retoning yourself to become,
mhm,
or attuning yourself to become that living light and inspiration from these beautiful aspects of creator, which is remembering grace, remembering integrity as well, remembering respect, remembering honor, and how we bring that into our lives as a whole experience of ourselves.
mhm.
And understanding that that's how it works, right? It's the interplay. It's how we create our reality and our hologram, and it shifts. But yeah, certainly sifting through the distortions. And this is why when we look at the micro, we can observe the macro, and vice versa. What is it telling us? What is the story telling us about what we're doing and how we're behaving, and what's being reflected back to us? So yeah, it's a process of interfacing with yourself and understanding the core truth and the core nature of what you are and where you want to be. So yeah, it's intention setting more than anything, and then working out the ways that work best for you. So yeah, this is why using songs and sounds and frequency work and being aware of what you're tuning into as well, whether it's feeding your life force or draining it. It's just that level of awareness that gets fine-tuned, doesn't it? See, it's all about sound, all our language. Everything is it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even in the past we had all these advanced technologies. Like a lot of people assume that in the past we weren't so that we were just primitive, but that's not that's not actually the way the forbidden
Yeah.
history is. We're actually highly evolved, and I mean, the ancestors walked the ley lines. I mean, they sung, they danced, they knew how to connect with frequency. They were frequency, emitters, you know. So that's where we, you know, like Tesla says, we got to go back to this you know, the future of medicine is frequency, and that's the truth. We have to understand, because I think some people who are in a spiritual path, they keep hearing this word energy. What was energy? What is this frequency? Like, I didn't know that either. And then until I started experiencing it and experiencing it in my consciousness and seeing it in my journeys. And it is, man, to see your aura, your living aura around your body. I mean, talk about a confirmation. Feeling energy in your palms and your fingertips, in your third eye, your crown. It almost feels pleasurable on your spine, and you like, this is real, and this is something that I can focus and bring more into my experience.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, exactly. We're heading back into the ancient future where we remember that we were master builders, master architects, transmitters, receivers, transducers of energy. And we know that we came in with that memory, the tuning forks, but it's now we're honing it. We're really becoming more attuned to exactly what we're here to do again. You know, yeah, it's like when I've been having lovely discussions with a soul sister about star forts, and you know, the old
Oh
buildings
yeah.
that carry the harmonics within the architecture and the beauty and the grace of it. You know, that sound and light and living material, like form, as a result of the harmonic it was carrying and anchored into in the grid, and what that was transmitting and creating around it for those as a healing space. Very powerful. And we're definitely going back to that. It's what we're here to do. This is what I feel like I'm tasked to do with now, is now that the grid's kind of been set in places, we'll be rebuilding the harmonic communities, hubs, healing places, centers of expansion and consciousness growth, place to reconnect. I feel that's going to be a natural part of our transition and in our involvement. We're going to be wanting to be in these places. We're going to be wanting to gather in these
Sign me up.
beautiful. Yeah, I know, right? See, we're all ready.
I
We're
want to
like, okay,
go.
let's go. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. And using, you know, remembering the life force technology that we are first as consciousness. God force technology, right? We are the original technology, and then using that to create, to sustain and help our thriving communities and the generations to come as legacies of love. I'm making it sound really simplistic, and boy, do I hope I get to do that in this lifetime. But I keep seeing it, you know, there's a reason why we
Yeah.
keep having these visions of these beautiful places. And it's because we've done this before.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Well, we have, even just the ancient Egyptians, they had this Ankh technology. They had small Ankhs and they had huge Ankhs. This is how they built the pyramid. The Guardians talk about it in Voyagers too. They built this 50,000 plus years old, not this ridiculous, a few thousand years old. That's what the mainstream says. And they were burial tombs. No, they were not burial tombs. They were actually technology. The Great Pyramid was actually a teleportation thing, and it was an ascension chamber. And so we knew those technologies. That's what we're trying to say. The star forts, they had these
Mm.
huge, you would say, what were churches really used in the past? What are those amazing, huge organs? The musical organs. Uh,
Mm.
what about the giant bells they used to use? All these sound
Mm.
technologies. And these were now that it's all buried and silent. And but no, we're here bringing that back, right?
That's right. That's
So
right. We're all slowly remembering and reminding ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you look at the rose windows on the cathedral, that's a harmonic signature.
yeah.
It's a ketone that
Mhm.
tells us exactly what it's tuned to and what it was designed to do. Yeah, and that's within us. So if you look at some of the drawings of a DNA template, it looks like a harmonic rose. It's just gorgeous. A cymatic pattern, and we're responding to that now as the vibration is shifting. It's like we're on a cymatic plate, and we're kind of being moved and vibrated into a pattern. And that's kind of how I see the energies that are taking place on the planet right now. And it's slowly creating a new harmonic as we're shifting into it. Those that are aligned with it are shifting into it or resonating with it now, and we're able to sustain that harmonic. And that's when the memories of ancient builder technologies are coming back in. And I have this memory from and I never knew where to place it, but it was like the Elven kingdoms, and we used to grow architecture like it was a consciousness on its own, and it used to grow like you could program it, and it would take on the form of biomimicry of the harmonic, the natural surroundings it was in, but it had like a bone-like construct to it, which was fascinating. And it's like, where do I place that? But when I think about sound and light technology and the consciousness and the connection to nature, it makes sense. I think I was just pulling in that memory to remind myself of what's possible, or where my imagination could take it at that point. Like we're moving into a transcendent state of imagination, which means there's no ceiling on it. You're just going to grow
Mhm.
with it as we access more and more consciousness. So yeah, so a bit of a
You,
tangent there, but in terms of building an
no,
architecture on the grid and what's possible is a really exciting place to play in.
you
And I
mentioned
feel like so many of us are ready to talk about it.
yeah, you
Mm.
mentioned cymatics. When I saw cymatics, it's the vibration of sound. There's sound again that creates these sacred geometries. It when I first saw it, I it blew my mind like it's magic or some extraordinary beauty that you vibrate a certain
Yeah.
way and it creates this code, man, right in front of your
Yeah.
eyes, with a tone, a sound tone or
Mm.
something. And so I believe there's a
Yeah.
reason why that's got, if we find out the positive vibrations, some people are listening to tones like high frequency tones. I think there's a lot of potential in that, don't you think, Rihanna?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, like all Royal Rife's
Oh yeah.
research,
Hmm.
about time frequencies to target
Look
specific
him up, you
areas.
guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing, that body of work. We're just going to expand more on that. That for me is the future of life force tech, is sound and light, because now you're dealing with our true core blueprint. Now you're speaking directly to the consciousness within every cell, right? And
Hmm.
that that was the premise for a lot of my self-healing, was understanding the power of voice as well, the codes that are within our voice and how we use our voice to heal every cell when we speak love, rejuvenation to the cells in our body. We switch it on, we activate it, we light it up, and that's lighting the crystal grid within us. And that was hugely transformative in terms of my understanding about what we are. Before I came across the freedom teachings, that just kind of backed up what I'd experienced and what I'd self-healed through. So yeah, the things that I offer on my website are to do with like subliminal voice, speaking to the cells, speaking love into the cells of your body, which is the water. You're programming the water, you're programming the cells to perform a different function, which is one of life, rather than death or reverse sequence operation. So now we're transforming and evolving rather than devolving.
Right.
Yeah, does that make sense? But yeah, it all comes down to sound and light, frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
think about this. I mean, there's some music choices out there, genres, that the music sounds horrid to my ears. Like it sounds like not harmony, some hardcore rock or
Mm,
death music, and plus it's got the lyrics that go along with it. This is where you become very mindful, guys, of what you're listening to and what you're speaking. That's another part of
mm,
the aspect of sound, right? That I mean that has, like you said, an effect on your
mm,
DNA. So what are
mm.
you listening to today?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You kind of come out of harmonic resonance with so much when you tune into more of your core blueprint.
Mhm.
There's only so many frequencies you can tune into now. And yeah, definitely with affirmations, and song lyrics,
Yeah,
there's stuff I just will not listen to because of that,
yeah,
and it goes with food as well. It's what resonance, what frequency is it holding? Is it death or is it of life? What are
right.
you feeding yourself with? Is it parasitic or is it life-giving and
Hmm.
eternal? Yeah. And
Well,
everything meditation, yeah, with everything that you tune into, becoming aware on such a highly sensitive way.
well, like you
Mm,
mentioned earlier, the more you awaken yourself, you will see those distortions more and more. Like you'll just be able to reveal all of the, you know, vampiric energies around you, whether it's people or whether it's a place or, like you said, a piece of food. We will just be able to have this intuition to know what doesn't serve us
mm.
and put boundaries on those things in our life. And we're gonna we're not gonna even want those things anymore. We're gonna want to gravitate towards what makes us, grow to our fullest potential, right?
Yeah, exactly. So well said. I know. I'm laughing because the amount of times I've just grabbed a bag of chips, I'm like, it's okay, I can do this. I know what I'm doing. It's fine. Yeah. So you kind of got to be patient with yourself and not expect yourself to be, superhuman in any context of the imagination. It's okay to live a life,
Yeah.
and go easy on yourself. It's not easy down here. So yeah, I just want to paraphrase everything that I'm sharing. I don't want anyone to be in misconception that I'm living, this 24/7. It's like, no. But
Yeah.
when you speak a prophecy to yourself, it is that. It is that for me. And I
Yeah.
align with that as much as possible because I feel better when I do.
Yeah, I think
Feel
it's important.
healthier, more
It's,
alive.
it's important
Mm,
to have flexibility and not beat yourself up if you mess up your diet, for example. Um, I encourage
mm.
people to be a little bit more flexible and like I want to ask you, are you a vegan or do you go back and forth or what is your diet like?
Oh, when I was doing some massive health transitions, like I was shifting, doing a lot of healing to remove disease and
Hmm.
rejuvenate my body. I went vegan. I went organic.
Hmm.
just everything. I stripped everything out, just so I could really tune into what was playing out. And then over time, I'm way more flexible, and I listen to my body
Right.
more, and I respond to what it needs. And that's how I live and flow with what's happening around me. Yeah, yeah. I
You get
prefer
a
that. It takes the
feeling.
stress out as well.
Exactly. You're
Yeah, you
not.
get a feeling. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I do a lot of fasting as well. I've heard a few people talking about it, but the health benefits
Oh
of it
yeah.
are amazing. The life changing.
I'm a
Yeah,
proponent
we
of
eat
that.
far too much. You know, the programming.
Yeah.
You're what? A proponent of it?
I'm a huge proponent of
Mm,
fasting, and I talk about people to encourage people to do that. I eat one meal a day for one,
yeah.
but also every now and then do a whole
Mm,
day of kind of like water fasting. Because if you ever feel hungry, you can drink water, but I don't feel hungry when I fast. After you've done
mm,
it a few times, it's not an issue. And
mm,
I went on a 3 day fast, and I still wasn't hungry after 3 days. But
mm,
to each their own. Everyone has different biochemistry, but it's something that you should
mm.
try to, don't go real, strongly, but work your way into doing it one day, 2 days, whatever you need. So,
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So I said, yeah, it was transformative in the way that it helped my body find its balance,
hmm
and we don't need as much food as what we think we do a lot of the times, just speaking for myself, but um, yeah, just the way that it can find its own equilibrium and maintain a good. I've found that intermittent fasting has just been amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And I'd recommend it to anyone.
I
Mm,
was, I think it's such,
yeah.
I don't know, there's something about food. It could be a huge problem or a blessing. And I personally am quite surprised that why Ashayana didn't talk about it more. Why does the teachings not talk about food when food is such a big deal? But I guess we have to figure it out on our
Mm,
own. A lot of us are gravitating to, well, being a vegan because you don't feel so good about eating animals, and their suffering that they go through in these little cages. Maybe that's one reason, but you, did you find anything in the teachings about food?
no, no. I used to laugh in the workshops when they were like, they'd be drinking spirits. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that was so like 25 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Makes me laugh. But yeah, certainly the topic of nourishment, like it's such a good word, nourishment. It's like,
yeah,
what does your body need? And that for me is the self-care and self-love aspect that everybody needs to work out for themselves. Like it's all so unique to their body composition and what their activities demand and how they live and whatever, such a range of complexities that, we're multifaceted beings. So um, yeah, that's part of the fine tuning when we get to know ourselves, when we really tune into who we are and what we need to bring forth um, our best selves, basically, to uplift ourselves in a healthy state, healthy mind, body, heart, and soul. That's all part of it. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's an individual process, but yeah, I didn't see anything about it in the freedom teachings, and you
yeah.
don't in the health system, right? The health system. And this is why we see so many people sharing their um,
Wisdom.
health stories now,
Yeah, yeah.
about, yeah, health wisdom about what they've found, or like, we're experimenting on ourselves to remember.
hmm
Well, I used this with this with this, and that was really
Yeah.
good. And we use variations of whatever that is. Yeah,
hmm
yeah. Because I remember coming across, do you know Dr. Sebi? Do you remember that guy? I think
Oh, sure.
he was in South American country, but he spoke a lot about CMOS and
Mm.
a lot about the nutrition and about rejuvenating cells and how he was healing disease through just basic ingredients, or knowing the basic composition of the body and what it needs in a cellular level. and kind of giving it what it needs. So yeah, it's all relearning that the ways we can. Yeah, part of the journey.
Yeah, it's
Because all that information is highly suppressed.
yeah. And
Yeah.
these teachings talk about how humans are originally breatharians. We don't eat. I'm a big proponent of, I believe that everything we need is already within, but in this distortions of the planetary grids, we still are going to have we're not going to have perfect health or live to be immortal, but I think we can certainly up the bar some and get rid of diseases and cancers. And so who knows what's around the corner, but I believe that there's also technologies being suppressed like med beds or whatever. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to do everything within ourselves. So what do you think of that message?
Yeah, no, that's perfectly said. Yeah, I'm the same. Like, when you demonstrate responsibility and your ability to understand your consciousness and how to take responsibility for that, like your choices, that's demonstrating a level up in terms of what you're aware of. Yeah, yeah, in all ways. Yeah, just as you say. Um, yeah, it starts with consciousness first. Your own consciousness.
I
Yeah,
sort of,
understanding the technology that you're inhabiting. Yeah,
yeah, I
and
gravitate.
how to make the most of it. Yeah,
Yeah, because everybody is different.
sorry.
They're all like there's some people who sit on a desk. There's other people who are very active, or so we all have different. Like you said, we have to find out within ourselves what's the balance that's going to serve us, and be
Mm,
mindful. And intention. Mindfulness and intention
mm,
is very important
yeah,
because we create our own
yeah,
hologram. So you start with your thoughts.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Um,
about learning how to yeah, when you see the results of people not taking care of themselves
yeah.
or not being aware of their choices in regards to health, what happens? We're seeing these epidemic rises and serious health concerns at the end of life, and there's no quality of life.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, we're repatterning every aspect of the human lifespan to evolve into something new that is aware, self-aware enough to value quality of life, quality of everything, um,
Yeah.
and the worthiness of it all. Yeah, to value life, to remember to value life. Because I mean that's the programming that's been here. It doesn't value life. It doesn't
Right.
value creation. It does not value sacredness. And these words are beautiful. I love using them. Like it's
Mhm.
sacred life. When you view yourself as sacred, you start to operate really differently. You really start to recognize everything, and that is the law of one. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there's definitely a presence that's
Mm,
anti-life, anti-God, anti-human, anti-earth, but that's where we're coming in, transmuting that and bringing in this respect of life, the reverent respect of life, love of life, which is God's original intention. God's not angry.
mm,
God's not judgmental. God loves you. God loves everything. And guess what? You're part of that unified field,
mm,
that consciousness of God. And so that is healing within itself which she just mentioned, law of one. When you can realize that we're all one, the many are the one, how could you be outside of God? We're not. It's impossible. We're all part of the Creator, and that includes you, all you brothers and sisters out here. We're all meant to reclaim that part of ourselves, even though there's so many things in the world trying to make you forget that part, or bring you a false narrative. No, we transmute those false light, teachings out there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's what each of us are doing, especially you, with your beautiful channel,
Thank you. Thanks.
it's an introducing new ones to remember and to play with in your imagination. That's it. It's about invoking curiosity in all things, in all life, and
Mhm.
just so much is about drawing us outside of ourselves, and it's the opposite. It's the other way. When you go here, when you go within, this is the greatest mystery in the world, and this is worth everything. Your connection to everything, and within you hold all the answers. Yeah,
It's a beautiful
yeah.
experience.
Just reminding each other. Mm, mm.
I want to ask you,
It
dear,
is, yeah.
have you ever, like, can you talk about one of your, you could call it paranormal or supernatural experiences, or maybe a connection to some spirit or alien or UFO? I've had plenty of those experiences. Would you like to talk about any of those experiences you may have had?
Oh, thank you. I don't think anyone's asked me. My very first significant experience was when I was quite young, and I was about 8, and I was looking
Mm.
in the mirror, and when I looked into my eyes, I felt a direct connection to Source. I was like,
Wow.
this isn't all there is, and just that direct knowing, and then like just walk, but knowing that I was connected to everything. Um, and then later on, when I was 13, I traveled to Australia on my own. It's part of an exchange trip, student exchange trip, and I was visited by 2 who were, I called them angels, but they were tall, blonde, elvish-looking, angelic
Mm.
beings, and they were very soft and very gentle, and I didn't say anything to them. I didn't actually want to interact with them. I said, no, thanks. I'm not ready to do this. But that was just prior to the trip when I went to Uluru, Ayers Rock, in the middle of Australia. Initiation into the grid work that I've been tasked to do on the planet. So, yeah, they were my big ones. And then since then, I've had many interesting, many things that occur to us, right? That show us that we're connected in so many ways to multidimensional aspects and otherworldly intelligence. It's just that constant reminder. Now it's just like an everyday occurrence, right? You
Yeah.
can see and tap in and tune to many
Our
things.
life is
Yeah,
science
yeah.
fiction.
That's right. That's right. This is why we have to isolate in a lot of ways, because it's just living in a different world. Yeah, just
Well,
so aware of different things.
for
Yeah.
example, my Christian family would not understand. So I'm so happy and thankful that there's other people who can relate, who can connect, who've had similar experiences. This is why I go to these events like contactee, abductee type of events, or like disclosure events. I've been to the few, and I meet other people who have these same stories and what you would call paranormal or supernatural, and while other people will laugh, mock you, call you, a schizophrenic, or, it's just negative, really sad things. But, there's other people who are just excited about the things that they've had, experience. Like you talked about some of yours. I think that's amazing. What is that like?
Mm.
That's like, what's that called? Close encounters of the, you saw two people physically. Right? That's crazy.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Wow.
So not ready for that. Sorry, come back another time.
Maybe
I know, right?
later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can't do this now. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah, and that's why we gravitate towards one another, is to hear that we're not crazy, we're not going nuts.
Hmm.
That this is normal. This is normal, and this is why it's important for us to find our voices with this, because the next generations, this is part of their life too. They need to learn that they're not nuts. That this is where we're going. This galactic evolution. It's very cosmic, etheric.
Yeah, well, I think this is why we actually share our stories, because other people can, y- you know, they know it's okay to talk about. Because now I start getting emails from people. Now I'm starting getting, direct messages. People want to share, and it's not like seeking validation or something, but they just want. It feels good to get it off, and they don't think they're crazy, right? So
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
mainstream doesn't believe in this stuff, but we they can't take that
Mm.
away from us. Like you said, it's a cognition, not a belief, not a faith or a hope. It's a testimony. It's a witnessing. So they can't take that away from you.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, that's so well said. Yeah, witnessing. Yeah, and people want to be heard. It's that sound again,
Yeah,
and being
yeah,
able to hear yourself tell your story or share just whatever's going on. It's so important. Yeah, and I feel like that's my role too. I love listening. I love learning. I love um, hearing people. And what they're going through and what they're experiencing. So yeah, it's always a joy when I hear from somebody and then share something. It's a gift. Yeah, as long as it's nice.
yeah.
Like I don't want negative stuff to me. Stuff and whatever's bothering them. Yeah, I like that. Mm,
Yeah, I
yeah.
used to do one-on-ones with people, and there were some energies I just didn't want. I didn't want those energies, but yeah, I want to ask, do you have some type of consultation on your site, or that people can go to, or how do people find you besides YouTube?
Uh, yeah. Yeah. People found me on YouTube and then that disappeared, and now I've got a backup for some reason, but so I've been a bit of a standstill. I'm not too sure where to position myself other than Telegram, which is where people are finding it as well. So, um,
You'll figure it
yeah, I
out.
have to. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, website. People can book. I do an angelic shield technology, which was something I was gifted to during a very dark time in my life. Where I was just me and creator just sitting there, and I was gifted this technology, and it was so resonant with the freedom teachings, the light, the sound, and it's just similar technology. So I offered that as a way to assist people and have a chat about things, but I haven't, other than the Telegram channel, I don't really have a consultation, so to speak.
Hmm.
But yeah, after my trip to the States, I feel like things might become clearer in terms of the direction, on how to open all of that up. Yeah, because it felt like I was doing a bit of a whirlwind tour with the YouTube channel and busy creating videos and
Yeah.
content and stuff. Then all of a sudden, it just got the plug got pulled, and I was like, okay, I'll do a workshop using the technology and then see how that goes, and then just feeling my way intuitively. So yeah, like you say, I'll work it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll come to you at
yeah.
the right time. That's what I found. Like, it just kind
Mm.
of like happens, like you see all these synchronies, and it'll be another synchrony eventually. And they, oh, right, of course, it was already, here it is. That's my
Yeah.
window. Did you check
Yeah,
out
that's right. It's
Sedona?
often the most obvious thing.
Did you check out
Yes.
Sedona?
Yeah, I spent a month in Sedona.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 I
it's,
had a frequency holiday after it was well needed. Mm,
Yeah, it's powerful
yeah.
energy there. It's close to Stargate 1, which is Painted Desert of Arizona, but there's
I went there too.
vortices.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's
Yeah.
powerful. You feel it, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah. I was like, man, I know this place. When I was driving through, I was like, I have to come back here. It's so beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful too.
What's going
Very
on? But
unique.
yeah, it's very
I
unique.
I
Yeah.
grew up in Arizona, so there's
Amazing.
a lot of special things about that place, and so I have memory code there, and
Mm,
I know that the teachings talk about how the indigos and angelic humans were actually seated on different places of the around some of the stargates and some of the control sites. So like Lamria and Moo or like some of the other
mm,
places. And I think that's why we have memories sometimes of being a Celtic or a Druid. I tell people Native American or Mayan, Aztec, Incan.
mm,
It's those are part of who we are, and I think that's why it's important to visit some of these sites because it's a
mm.
form of activation or helps you connect to a memory. I mean, don't you
Yeah.
think that's true?
100%. That's exactly what's happening. Yeah. You're picking up the codes, memory codes, and you're dropping them off basically for other people to access that memory as well. Yeah. I see it as that exactly. Yeah. Interfacing with the grid. You are the grid. Yeah. Being called to places for a reason. And then you feel that huge resonance, and that's when you get the memory flashes of things as well. Yeah. And then when you start gathering with soul family on the grid, that's
Hmm.
just next level. Other things happen of one another, doing things in other space time vectors, and the magic that that can create, and the way that interfaces with the shared holographic reality is remarkable. So I feel like we're moving into that space now as well. Like as grid workers, we'll be coming into star clusters or soul family clusters of resonance, harmonic resonance. It comes down to the DNA patterning within soul monad groups. We'll be gathering at these points to remember more, and I think that's part of the cymatic frequency. Shifting the vibrations that we're patterning and remembering, and we'll be reorganizing ourselves on the board, so to speak, to
I
where we feel the most harmonic resonance with.
when you
Mm.
say you mean physically coming together, like in a group at some location,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I feel like so many of us are feeling that now. Feeling the call, feeling the pull
Hmm.
to move and shift with the energy, and being drawn to places. Like I can hear it. I can see it in what people are posting, what people are sharing, and it's just you're tuning into what the unspoken is, and that's the line of frequency that's now being played through. I think,
Well,
yeah,
that's been my
getting us
message
excited.
recently is to,
Has it really?
yeah, like I encourage people that this is time where we start meeting each other. And we have a group of
Mm-hmm.
us that's going to meet in Sedona, which, like you said, there's more involved with a group of us,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look
Yeah.
at the round tables, they teach you how to do this in groups, right? And so that's they used to all come together to a spot and they run their frequencies and man, there's some powerful stuff you do as I
Mm.
mean, we're powerful as
Oh, yeah.
individuals, but a group of us, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
that's massive.
It is massive, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the point. That I think that's exactly it. That's why we're getting the call now. Yeah. Um,
You know,
it's definitely been spoken about in my group too. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
may be a break in the official shield, but I think there's still a shield operating. There's still indigos in the house. There's still powerful people here that even if we can't, there's no speakers in place, we can still make a massive influence, a positive Krystic influence in what we're going to be doing in our projects together. So,
Mm. That's right. As sovereign pillars of divine light, each of us, we're each speakers of
mhm.
frequency. We're each holding unique codes that need to be sung together and woven together again. And that's what we're remembering. That's why we're going to come together. Each of us has got the gift to activate another. You watch it happen with Soul Family. It's amazing. It's amazing. When you experience it, it's an incredibly uplifting time and of magic and possibility. You get to see what actually happens. And I'd love to recreate that, or what I've experienced so far, and I know it's just going to get more and more magical. Yeah, like you say, you don't need many of you to be quite a powerful little unit on a grid point.
Yeah.
And when you hold that shared intention and that magic flows, it's pretty powerful.
Well, if you come down to Arizona again, let me know. We'll definitely have to meet, and I just think it's important. It's just I want to ask you, by the way, are you open to questions from the audience?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot there was an audience.
Yeah, it gets so deep in our talk here. I don't know about this question, but I'll go ahead and ask you anyways. What is your life path number?
It's 22.
Wow, master
Yeah,
number.
interesting question. It's so funny.
Yeah, well, some people are into numerology and such, so.
Yeah.
But
For sure. That's where I started. Yeah, when I saw that. Yeah.
but there's numbers in God, there's science in God. God is everything. So you're going to find meaning in numbers. As a matter of fact, the Guardians talk about the
Exactly.
divine number 12, which you will see everywhere. 12 this, 12 that, 12 strands of DNA, 12 tribes, 112 times 12, 144. Excuse me. And also,
Yeah.
so yeah, numbers are important. 22, 33, 99,
Yeah.
1111. So
Yeah, they're codes, aren't they? Just speaking to our consciousness. Yeah. Activation codes. Like I'm flying to the States on Friday, and my flight number is 144. And I thought, oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
see,
Love
after you wait a while, you say this, you just get used to it. They just come and come and come and okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, blessing. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
License
This is awesome.
plates,
Yeah, exactly.
clock dates. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll see them everywhere. I mean, I see it in
Yeah.
online. I'll see
Yeah.
a number like, whoa, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know everything is coded, and we all have different gifts and ability to read code in different formats, different mediums. But they all speak the same thing. They all, when you're looking for that highest path and intention, it's there. It'll always reflect it back to you in whatever you're studying or using as a tool. This is my feeling or my observation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Here's the next question. What was your life like before learning about these teachings, and how has it helped you be able to heal and grow?
Oh, I like that question. Thank
That's a good
you.
question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I first awakened, I recognized that I had to balance truth with healing, and it's a simultaneous, like finding out about the collective truth had to be assisted by a spiritual development. So that's when I really started my path of learning about what that was to me, and then self-healing started, and it was about honoring the experience, the experiential part of learning and soul growth. And then the freedom teachings came in literally last year and kind of validated the experiences that I'd had, and expanded on the meaning, the deeper meaning, or the teachings behind it, like the fire letters, what they were, what they coded to, how they work in the DNA template. Because at the same time, I understood I was reprogramming myself. I was recoding the blueprint. I was rehabilitating myself from the inside out. And that it was the language that I was using with myself. And then when I saw it reflected in the freedom teachings, I was like, damn, it's amazing. It makes sense now. There was like correlation terminologies, but obviously Ashayana just brought in a whole language of so yeah, it was very expansive very quickly when I came across the freedom teachings, and then a year on now I feel like I've kind of settled back into my own essence and have the values and aspects of the freedom teachings that are here to accentuate our unique essence and how they can further develop and evolve us to be, basically. Does that make sense? Rather than the be all and end all, they're a wonderful tool. Like everything that we've learned along our journey and how we're putting it all together, that's perfect for us and perfect for our understanding of who we are and how we came to be and what we do. So yeah, that I hope that answers the question.
Thank you for that, for sharing, sister. That was awesome. I want to say also that you mentioned about something similar for me. I needed to know truth first, right? I needed truth. I didn't want half truths. I wouldn't settle for half truths. I wanted to know only, so I was on this journey for a year or two, just seeking truth until I found it, until I felt it. And that's what same thing that happened to me was with the freedom teachings. I finally found what I felt was true truth. And so, and that too is where I started shifting and changing in my whole life. So I know what you went through. So it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a similar story for so many, right? We start asking each other. Yeah.
This person's asking you, is the Hoover Dam one of the stargates?
Hoover Dam. I first intuitive response is no. It's a dam.
No.
It's blocking. Yeah. I don't know.
Blocking
I don't know
energy.
what's under there. I've never.
Well,
The answer lies with you, but I definitely haven't had my focus drawn there. But it's
yeah.
interesting.
I just want to say that the Guardians tell us all the 12 stargates, and Hoover Dam isn't one of them. There's only the Sedona is the only one in America, and there's the Gruol point, but that's not a stargate. But there's there's 12 of them, and the Hoover Dam is actually there's a lot of dark stuff going on at Hoover Dam. I've heard about it's part of the whole Sin City stuff going on, but that they do rituals under the Hoover Dam. I don't know why they select that spot, but just letting you know,
Yeah.
whoever asked the question, it's not a Stargate according to the Guardians, right? So
But it could be over a crystal
yeah,
node
I mean,
or some lay.
yeah, there's
They do the
definitely
rituals on these places, right? Yeah.
like even Mount Shasta. It's not a Stargate, but it definitely has powerful energy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah.
The next question is, what Grail line do you resonate with?
What grail line? Yeah, great question. It's like multiple. Initially, I really felt the Q site in Hawaii and Montsegur in France, so Stargate 12. But like you, I had a huge feeling of homecoming when I went to Hawaii. It felt so familiar. But yeah, that was probably my first intuitive hit in terms of it. But yeah, there have been others that I'm sure I was at and we used to travel through. I'm just convinced of it.
Yeah, do you mind if I share one second, sorry. If I share the diagram real quick?
Please.
Okay.
We love diagrams. Visual learners.
All right. So just whoever asked the question, these are the Magi Grail lines, and there's the Australian one there's a tribe two connecting to Hawaii, Lemuria. We have the white skinned Druidics. And I just want to say, you can be in different tribes. You can incarnate in different tribes, so maybe you'll have more than one memory. The Ceres
Mm.
Egyptians, Mayan, Toltec, Mexicali, the Machu Picchu, Mua, more Celtic Druidic, Roma Vita, India, or the Nordic Scandinavian Russians,
Mm.
Incas, Tribe 7 Incas, Lake Titicaca, Paxos Island. These are some of the tribes that any one of you brothers and sisters could have a connection to. More of the Asian tribes in Lapnor, Tibet, Tribe 9, more Chinese, the Yu Mua.
Mm.
Some of the light brown skin Essene, Melchizedeks of Persia, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Russia, Celtic Druids, Tribe 11, and finally Tribe 12, more of the Mua and Cathari. So I'm going back out of this, sorry.
Yeah, I feel like that was cool that you showed that. Thank you.
Sure.
There's so much more to learn with that because, like you said, different
Hmm.
places with the stargates. Because when you draw on parallel lives, memories, um, I have multiple of those sites covered.
Hmm.
Like it's like, yeah, I was there, I was there, I was there. So it's been hard to pinpoint just one. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Hmm.
that's what we were on many different reincarnations, the indigos are. So we're going at different timelines. So you'll have these different memories. Like you said, I was here, I was there. Oh yeah, I was also there. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're just doing our best to remember, right? Yeah. Just looking for the same answers. But
Yeah.
there's more to it. I feel like there's so much more that went on in terms of different realms that were here at the same time as well, that were playing.
Hmm.
This is the starting point. What this material provides. It's beautiful.
I can see why they call them
Mm.
the freedom teachings, because it really sets you free, because there's so much spiritual bondage on earth that, people just aren't being able
Mm.
to accomplish hardly much of what their potential is. And that's why, you know, you guys take a look at these teachings. We give you these to start off with free downloads. Get into, like she mentioned, the dance of love, dance for joy, dance for life. You can't go wrong with those workshops. You just search for them online. We give you some of the links. And I encourage you guys to go check out her website. She's got interviews, she's got other content on her YouTube channel. If you guys look below, I put a link to her YouTube channel. And is there anywhere else they could find you,
Thank
or
you.
you just want to talk about that in your website?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I've got links on my website, but they're at the bottom. But yeah, I've got a Telegram channel called Amore Earth. Can look for me on there. Um, YouTube with the same name, Amorea-Earth, and Amorea.earth is the website. Yeah, those are my main
Okay.
points. Yeah,
I'll
thank
put that
you.
on the video too.
Mm,
And of course you can share this video on your channel. But um
thank you.
I really enjoyed this conversation with you, dear. This I know we could
Yeah,
probably
me
do
too.
a part two for sure. So in the near future.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, live from Sedona. Here we are doing a roundtable.
There we go.
That'd be pretty amazing.
But I think you're right that we're meant to come together. We're meant to co-create. We're meant to bring in the codes. We're representing those
Mm,
human heritage. I mean, humans are angelic, you guys. We're all spiritual badasses. This is why I
mm,
call you all holy ones, because you are. And so I want to ask you,
mm.
if you want to say something, a last advice or some last tip or what you think is important to say here at the end, Rianna? Is there something you want to
Thank you
share?
so much. I just want to say, yeah, no, just my profound gratitude for this time with you. And it's always such an uplifting experience when you can connect at this level, in such a heartfelt way. So I'm just always so grateful for these opportunities, and thank you to the audience that are tuning in. And yeah, just gratitude, love and gratitude to each and every one of you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what we're going to be co-creating, because the sky's the limit right now. This is so expansive in terms of what we're going to be doing and moving into next as a collective of awakened indigos and starseeds, a new infrastructure. It's just incredibly exciting time. Yeah. So thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
it's a great time to be alive. We have so much potential to so many creative minds and so many
Mm-hmm.
beautiful souls. I mean, we're gonna create a, return back to Eden. Humans were seated in Eden on planet Tara. We're gonna return that back to Eden. We're gonna return back to that joyous, beautiful, perfected place with Creator God. Not some distortion, not
Mm.
some lie, not some disempowerment. No, sorry,
No,
we're
no
going to
fear.
be healing ourselves, healing the planet, and bringing in a huge potential.
Yes. Thank you. Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Star
Amazing
Sister. We'll talk
words.
again
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure. Blessings
We
to
will.
everyone watching.
Yeah.
Good night, you
Lovely. Thank you
guys.
very much.